Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's good stuff. Yeah, fuck it. We're going for another one. This one, oh, good coffee. Man, I tell you, just that first initial cup of the day has just got to be the best, you know? Like I'll make coffee later in the day and it's just not the same because at that point your tummy's like, "Hey, I think I've had enough coffee." But you're like, "No, guess what, tummy? I decide when we've had too much coffee." So, as you may have noticed, my computer's working, and I'm really hoping that it doesn't shit the bed today. Yeah, it took me about 4 hours to try and get my computer to work again. I tried deleting. There was a step-by-step process I followed off of Google. Hi, baby. Hello. That didn't work. So I had to restore it. MacBooks have this thing called a time machine, which allows you to restore your MacBook to a different state in time. So, like, I think this MacBook actually, or the state of it right now is actually from like a year ago, which is weird. So I was looking at like pictures I had deleted, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I took that picture. I found a picture of me with long hair. Like years ago, and I was like, "Fuck, I should start rocking that look again." But then I'm gonna, probably look homeless, and I had a mad beard going on too, and all this shit. Um, something else that's funny too is when I sit here and before I press record, there's always this sense of, all right, how am I gonna do this? Like it's not like I'm nervous. It's just it's I don't know. Maybe I psych myself out. I'm just kind of like, okay, am I going to get this right or am I not going to get this right? So, but I like to think that once I get into a rhythm, then it usually goes pretty good. So yeah, so if we just pull up my notes here while Cookie plays around on the whatever the ledge I have here. The window is just right there, so she likes hanging out on the ledge and looking out the window, which is cool. Good for you, Cookie. Do what you want to do. Live your best life. All right, so saved. Okay, we're gonna try this again. We're gonna get a little warm up before I get into the meat and potatoes of what today's gonna be about. But all right, Demi Lovato, as I had said in the last episode, Demi Lovato, I guess, said this. This was published on the 12th of October, 2021. Obviously, Demi Lovato believes we should stop calling extraterrestrials aliens. It says here, Demi Lovato is a strong believer in extraterrestrials, and they believe we as a society need to avoid using the term alien. Aliens have long been the colloquial word for outer space beings, in brackets, whatever they may look like, and it's a term that has existed in our lexicon for decades. However, that term has another meaning for people here on Earth, and it's usually given to those who don't belong or aren't welcome in a particular community. That's why Demi Lovato feels the world, I'm glitching out. The world needs to use the term the term extraterrestrials or ETs for short, if we want to talk about the beings who might make contact with us eventually. All right. So I don't get it. Do you think that if aliens who would already be probably more advanced than us, and they show up to Earth in a fucking spaceship, okay? I got to imagine, I don't think they're going to get their feelings hurt if we call them anything. Like, if in fact, what if we called them extraterrestrials and they got offended? How do we know what we call them is going to bother them? That seems pretty presumptuous, right? Like, something that we haven't even encountered yet, we're already wondering what the fuck it's going to be sensitive about. Like, I don't get why you would spend and waste your energy on something like that. Like, if aliens show up, there's a couple possibilities. They show up and we get wiped the fuck out. Or we show up and they help better society. Hopefully. But I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, what if aliens were already here? What if they're here right now and their spaceships are, like, cloaked or some shit? And then, and they've been observing us for the past couple years. Even the past couple years, they're probably sitting there like, man, yeah, Steve. Yeah, the humans are doing weird things again. Yeah, I don't know. Do we talk to the boss? Does he really want to go down there? He's shaking his head. Yeah, I don't think we're going to go down there. Yeah, and I probably wouldn't either. because I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but I like to think eventually we're getting something right here. But so far it seems kind of a bit of a clusterfuck for since 2019 and onwards. That's just my take. But yeah, I don't get why the fuck. I don't know if Demi Lovato, if she's just got too much fucking time on her hands or what the fuck. But like, why are you worried about that? What a thing to say. Don't call them aliens. Like, who? They don't give a fuck. Hold on, I'm gonna adjust the camera here. I seriously doubt they'd give a shit. And if they did, well, then they can't be that advanced, right? But just that point there of like, they would be advanced. Our concepts that we're used to as humans, like, they'd fucking blow us out of the water. Because what the fuck are we talking about, right? Like, yeah, it's okay to cater to whatever the fuck is going on Earth, but an alien shows up, I don't think they're gonna give a fuck. And I'm positive they'd most likely just wipe us out or enslave us, so it doesn't matter what the fuck we're calling them. At that point, they start enslaving us, you can call them whatever the fuck they want, right? So, doesn't make much sense to me, but, Demi Lovato, I don't know, she seems to know something we don't. Maybe she's an alien. She kind of fucking looks like one. Anyways, got him. So, alright, so listen up. In fact, buckle up, because Daddy's here, and he's going to tell you a thing or two about a thing or two. Shit, you know what? You can call me a fax machine, because that's all I got. Facts. Shit. Such a fucking smart young man I am. Shit, check this out. Oh, I just went down a little bit. I'm here to level with you. So, working in a kitchen. I've worked in a kitchen. I've worked in a few kitchens. Let me tell you, nothing like working in a kitchen. It's like working in a controlled clusterfuck. You know what I mean? It's like there's beauty in it. You know, you show up, you throw up you throw on your non-slips, you get onto the line, or you get into the prep area, or whatever the fuck you're doing, and you start it up. You know, and everything's really fast paced, and it's always just like go, 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 and you know, those little moments where there's like slow time, that's when you're like cleaning shit up and shit like that. But when you're a line cook, you got to be ready for anything. You got to be ready for, you know, maybe you work with you always maybe have that asshole who works there who's just like a dick, and fuck that guy. I've only actually ever encountered one asshole in all the kitchens I've worked at, and believe me, that person was a fucking nightmare. She was just a piece of shit. She sucked. It doesn't matter. There was one time, like, she was in dish pit one day, and she got mad because I put a plate on top of a stack of plates. It just something stupid. And the next day she was giving me shit because I didn't put a plate on a stack of plates and I was being disorganized. I don't know. But it was one of those people who are like, here's an expectation, and then the next day it goes against the expectation. That's fucking bullshit. And yeah, so the life of being a line cook, what does that look like? Well, you most likely got to work maybe a little bit earlier, so you'd have that moment, 15, 20 minutes grace of, let me have a coffee and a cigarette, or, you know, if you really need it, you're smoking a joint, you're just not telling your boss you're stoned, and you probably showed up on your first day stoned, because the secret to showing up stoned to work is if you show up on the first day stoned, they're just going to assume that's what you are for the rest of your shift, so that way you're always kind of looking like you're stoned, and people are just going to be like, oh, yeah, I guess that's just how Ryan is. So, anyways, you're sitting outside, you're kind of getting yourself ready to go, because you know you're going to have to be on the ball for 8 hours plus, and so then you walk in, you know, and you're greeted by, I don't know, let's say 6 bales on the rail. That's maybe a slow day to some. That's probably a fast day to others, depending on what the fuck you're looking at. You might have one cook. Also, you find out, oh yeah, Jeff fucking called in because he got stuck in the bathtub. So that's cool. So now you got to pick up 2 stations while you're fucking, you know, the buddy on the window's got to juggle the window and another station. So you're doing that shit, it gets fucking busy, all of a sudden you got like fucking 20 bills coming in, and of course they always get rung in at once, because the front of house unfortunately doesn't really understand what's called like pacing. They'd rather just, okay, table, 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 and after you've gone through all those tables, the last table you hit, well, the first table has already had like fucking 15 minutes, maybe 10, to wait for you to go through all that, and then you're punching in all the fucking bills at the exact same time. So that's really good. Do that. Actually, don't fucking do that, because that fucking sucks. Don't do that. Take a table, punch it in. Take a table, punch it in. Like, it's that fucking easy. It's going to make my life easier, which is in turn going to make your life easier. And then, what then happens is then you've got all these fucking bills. You got whatever X amount of cooks you have, and of course someone's called in. You're just always going to have that someone called in. It's very rare that maybe someone didn't get called in, right? So anyway, so now you got all these bills at the exact same time. So that's fucking sweet. And then, then the kitchen, then the front of house, after they punch all that in, then after like 15 minutes, they wonder why the food isn't ready, or they're asking you, kitchen, may I? And that's always a lovely thing to hear, especially if you're juggling window, because when you're on window, then you gotta call the food, you gotta worry about, okay, adding on this side, you've got a fucking medium rare steak and 2 fucking burgers. Pan side, you've got a fucking jalapeno mac and cheese and a fucking bruschetta, whatever the fuck you got going on. Fries, I need 3 orders of fries on standby and fucking a thing of sweet fries, whatever. So you're in the midst of all that. So you're running the window, right? And then you're trying to make sure that you've got everything coming up at the same time. And that's not necessarily hard once you get the rhythm of it, but it's juggling that and then seeing the more bills come in and thinking about the time that you have there. Then you've got takeout, and depending on what restaurant you work at, maybe you can't even shut takeout, like skip the dishes off, because, hey, fuck the experience for the customer that's in the house, because maybe the owner just wants to make some fucking money. Whatever, I get it, the business needs money. How are we going to get paychecks? But I sure hope the paychecks are worth it if you're going to fucking do that, because if it's not, then fuck you. We're shutting that bitch down. Again, skip the dishes. Not the fucking in-house. In-house is what's important, right? That's the experience. Customers are showing up. They want their food fast. They want their food quick. So that's really important. So let's say you nailed the fucking timing. Let's say everything just went smoothly, which is like, if you really got all your fucking shit lined up, all your ducks in a row, then shit should be a breeze, right? You put your food up, and then it sits there. And I always give it like a couple minutes grace. But then at some point I'm like, all right, like order up, and no one shows up. Or my favorite thing too is you call that, there's clearly been 3 front of house people who are just kind of fucking around, whatever they're doing. Like, I know I'm not speaking for every single front of house person, but I have encountered front of house who are like either fucking around on their phone, probably doing something that's not as productive, or not even doing anything at all. And then the food just sits there, and you got like 3 of them, and they're chit-chatting, and you're like, hey, like, run the food. And it's important, because when you're a cook who really cares, you put in, so let's say you made that dish as perfect as possible. You grilled that steak to fucking perfection. It's a gorgeous medium rare. Anything else, customer can just get the fucking, we'll get into anything above a medium rare in a minute, maybe medium, but that's it, right? So anyways, you nailed that steak, and then it's sitting up at the window. Well, what happens when a steak is sitting there? Well, it's probably not going to be like a medium rare, or at least the perfect medium rare that you've nailed. It's going to be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, whatever, well, a little bit higher. And so anyways, and then by the time the customer gets it, and that depends if the customer even knows what the fuck a medium rare steak is, because I've also had it where we've cooked a medium rare steak perfectly, customer sends it back saying it's a rare. Well, no, I temped it, and here's another thing, the fucking restaurant I worked at, the medium rare temp was, and we didn't even go by the feel, which is what I was pretty good at. I wasn't like perfect at it, but like the when you touch the steak, you're like, okay, that's like a medium rare, right? Okay, it seems good. Customer sends it back. It's either overcooked or undercooked, so we tempt it, right? So the guidelines of this temp sheet says 130 to 140 for a medium rare. The guy who taught me, who worked at steakhouses, said 120 was like a medium rare, right? And that's if you're letting it rest. He showed me how to rest it. He showed me like the ways to get the good grill marks, make it look beautiful, all that shit. And so yeah, that's always fun when you've nailed it, and then the customer seems to think that they're actually Gordon Ramsay, and at that point you might as well just stick your fist up your ass, because I guess you don't know what you're talking about, even though for sure you do. So that's another frustration. And then, there's those days where you come in, and there's always that moment where, like, where the fuck is, like, the prep didn't get done? And for whatever reason, because again, Steve called in because his foot got stuck in the fucking garburator or some shit like that, right? And then and then things start picking up in the kitchen, right? So you're starting to juggle all this shit. You're running window, you're running your station, whatever. And then you got that customer. You got kitchen may I? Kitchen may I? Yeah. Okay. What? Can we do lettuce wrap pulled pork? Yeah. Fuck. I guess. I mean, it's gonna be a mess, but we can do that. Kitchen may I? Yes. When you're like trying to call orders. Carrots, can I get a gluten-free carrot? And you're just kind of sitting there like this, and you're like, I'm about to gluten-free this entire fucking building. In fact, I'm about to go and 86 myself, or 86 my foot into someone's ass in a second. So anyways, you then have to explain to maybe the front of house, or tell the front of house to explain to a customer that where the fuck is gluten in a carrot, but hey, maybe I'm missing something, I don't fucking know. So anyways, it's just fucking crazy. There's always these little things that occur. There's like unless you got like a really great place you're working at, there's always this weird struggle between the front of house and back of house, because the back of house knows damn well that the front of house has to deal with the customers, and the front of house is making more money than you are. And I mean, you do get tip out again, depending on where you work at. I've seen where people don't even get tip out. But yeah. So anyways. So you're dealing with that bullshit. Front of house, whatever they're doing, what they're doing. I mean, and the nice thing is too is, I mean, if you're a cook, doesn't matter, what you are. If you're fucking, you can't tell me you're not checking out like the front of house. And hey, I know maybe that's like HR, but like can we just like get past that for a minute and just kind of be brutally honest that like, don't tell me there's not at least like one cook out there who's like checked out the front of house and been like, okay, it's always like that nice little benefit to like working in a kitchen, because like, how many construction sites do you have something nice to work at? No, when you're in construction, most likely like a majority of the time, not excluding women, but there's a lot of like sweaty big dudes with beards and fucking foul language, and that's fine because you'll find foul language in the kitchen. I've said some horrendous shit in the kitchen. But, at least in a kitchen, you like have something nice to look at, right? So you're like, okay. And that sounds bad. I'm not going to sit here and try to like cater to sensitivities or whatever the fuck, because it's just that this is just, here's the experience, here's what I know. If you don't like it, go watch saying stuff in a garbage can. Yeah, go find that show. You don't like it, fuck off. Anyways, so, these are just some of the things you deal with in the kitchen. Another thing too is my favorite nights is when you close, and then you get that text, hey, can you open? And it's like 2 in the morning, and you're like, yeah, I guess I could be there for like 10 o'clock, so that means you gotta like maybe go to bed earlier and then wake up for 8 to get there for 9 to be whatever the fuck, right? So that's always fun. Again, being short-staffed is always fun, and depending on where you work, sometimes you don't even get OT. So you're just kind of, my favorite thing I heard was, oh, well, can we just take these overtime hours that you worked and put them onto another check? I mean, you're still getting the money, you're just not getting as much money. And I mean, whatever, yeah, you'll get taxed on more overtime, but still, right? So I don't know what it is. I think if you're working in a kitchen, you have to be some level of a masochist, because you kind of gain some satisfaction from the frustration and the heat and the pain and the anger and all the shit that goes on. I've worked with some cooks where we were fucking throwing shit around, and that's fun too, because you can kind of get the aggression out, and hello cookie. So that's always a good time. I'm not really one to throw shit around myself. I kind of like to try and keep a good vibe in the kitchen. But kitchens, yeah, like I said, they're just a very controlled clusterfuck. It's always gratifying at the end, though. You're always able to joke around, and it really, I would encourage anybody who wants to cook. Like, I've never gone to culinary school or anything like that. I've just kind of learned shit, right? Like, it took me chopping the tip of my thumb off to be able to understand, hey, maybe a knife is pretty sharp. So Anthony Bourdain, I think he made there was a video I watched about him cutting onions or working in a kitchen or knife skills or something, and he said something along the lines of, if you cut yourself, well, that's your own stupidity. And I was like, yep, 100%. I remember I was cutting green onion, and like wow, hitting puberty. These chef knives, yeah, these chef knives are extremely sharp. And again, I had no idea that, hey, maybe your thumb shouldn't be hanging around where you're chopping. But whatever, we were in a major rush. I needed a buffalo chicken wrap or some shit. So you're chopping away, chopping at this green onion, and zoop. So anyways, my thumb was, I can't remember if I've told this story on the show or not, but I will tell it again. So yeah, I chopped the tip of my thumb off. That was crazy. I've never seen the inside of my own body before. But that was fucking cool. There's like this white shit. I guess I can't remember if the term's called collagen or something like that. But it's like this weird shit. Kind of looks like a brain. So my thumb's chopped clean off. The nail is like partially gone. So then the chick who knew first aid, I think the only one in the restaurant, was like, okay, whatever. She's like, holy shit. So the only thing we had to disinfect is it was either vodka or it was one of those sanitizer wipes, like a wet nap. Pretty sure we used a Sani wipe. Let me tell you, that hurt. It was one thing to cut the tip of my thumb off. I had to stick a rag in my mouth and bite down as hard as I could, because as soon as she stuck that sanitizer wipe onto my thumb, oh my god, that was some of the worst fucking pain I've ever experienced. Yeah, so anyways, the coming back to being culinary trained is like, that does matter, because you do want to learn the skills, or maybe the people you work with in the kitchen. If it's your first time working in the kitchen, just be prepared. Like, you're gonna fuck up. You better learn how to be fast, quick. because that's key, right? And don't just be fast for the sake of being fast, but be fast in your quality, right? That's important because you want to be able to take pride in the food. And if you're taking pride in what you're making, that will translate to a customer enjoying it and having a good time. There is something to be said about putting love and care into what you're making. That's like so important. I think that's universal for anything, but it does translate, right? If you have some dude who's just whipping together fucking fettuccinis and he's just kind of chucking it on there and whatever, well, you know, it might taste good to the customer, but taking that little extra time to like make sure it looks nice and like, you know, make it the best you can with the time you have and do that over and over and over, you'll become an excellent fucking cook at that point, right? You know, so if you learn the skills, ask questions, be ready to make fucking mistakes, be ready to fucking cry, you know. I know people like going in the walk-in cooler. I don't think I ever went in the walk-in cooler, but and cried. I don't think I ever cried at all at a kitchen, but it's there. It happens. Sometimes shit just gets fucking crazy. There was one time, let me find out what time we're sitting at here. 21 minutes. I don't give a fuck, whatever. So there was one time I started at the kitchen I had worked the most at, and I didn't know all the stations yet. In fact, I could barely even handle running like 2 stations. Again, I was not confident. I didn't have the skills. I didn't know like the menu off by heart completely, right? I just knew station by station, and then it just took me time and repetition, right? So anyways, one morning, I had to cover my kitchen manager at the time. I had to cover his brunch shift. I had never worked brunch, so that's great. I didn't even know how to poach a fucking egg, so that's great. Let alone scramble them or cook them, whatever, right? So I found it very challenging. Maybe it's just me. I'm sure it's actually probably easier once you get good at it. But cooking an egg, making sure it stays hot, because that's the thing. Eggs can go cold pretty quick. So if you're ready to plate, you're ready to fucking plate. Like all that shit needs to go up. So anyways, trying to run all the stations by myself. First year as a cook in that restaurant, in the brunch, in the shit of it, in the weeds. The rails are just filled. And I'm sitting there ready to have a mental fucking breakdown because I don't know what the brunch is. Like, I don't know what we're supposed to do. So I don't know what my kitchen manager was thinking. And then I had one guy helping me, but unfortunately, without saying too much about him because, you know, whatever, I'm pretty sure he was dyslexic or something was going on, and that's fine. I mean, he was, whatever, right? It's not like everybody's, like, just fucking honky-dory, right? You know, people have things. So he's trying to read the bills, and he's getting everything backwards, which is further more like fucking up our shit further because he says we need like 6 of something when we really only need 1, or the bill says we need carrots when we really need. I'm just trying to give you an example, right? Like if it said green, he was gonna call blue, so that was fucking sweet. So now we're getting fucked that way, and I'm trying to correct this old dude who is actually like a Red Seal fucking chef, and I'm trying to tell him that's not correct, and I got intimidated by that because this guy is like he was the type of guy too where you'd be like, oh hey, how's it going, and he'd be like, yeah, fuck off. And you're like, okay. And that's just how he was, right? Which I also got a kick out of because later in my kitchen life, when I became like the kitchen manager, whatever that title means, just means you're the leader. I mean, the position is what it is. I learned a lot from it, but I certainly would have never called myself like a fucking chef, nor did I ask anybody to do that. But yeah, and then eventually it got to a point where I kind of became that guy where I was like, kitchen may I? And I was like, God, just fuck off. Like, no, kitchen, get the fuck out of here. Like, go fucking 86 your foot in the sun. I just love saying 86, I guess. But yeah, you know, and it's just like, I just got to the point where I was like more and more like, no, fuck you, shut up, whatever. But it was more of like a lighthearted, like I don't actually mean it. I just kind of want you to fuck off so I can do my shit, right? Which is fair. In a kitchen, you kind of just have to deal with that. And the more you have a better relationship with the front of house, the better things will go. But even then, even when I've tried to be nice, and then when I start getting, I would get worked up on the window. It would be fucking crazy. I barely even knew how to do a window when I first started, of course. And the training wasn't there. It was just like, take the window, call the food, and you'll figure it out. And I was like, okay, fuck me, I guess. So yeah, trying to juggle that, getting stressed the fuck out. Bill times are just through the roof. Like my first Valentine's Day, well, as the kitchen manager, I didn't know I had to schedule for that because I never actually worked like a hardcore Valentine's Day. So we got our ass jackhammered to shit. Walking home was fun. This is, of course, figuratively, of course, right? But yeah. So anyways, Valentine's Day, we're in the weeds. Bills are just pouring out of the fucking chip machine, whatever the fuck. And yeah, just a bad fucking time. Everybody's stressed the fuck out. I ended up actually I ended up like mentally checking out, and I just zoned out, and I was like in another world. I wasn't in the kitchen anymore, and I just remember calling a thing, just taking it order by order. All the other orders are just like piling the fuck up, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I just remember losing my fucking mind, stepping out, having a cigarette in mid rush, where we're all just getting our ass kicked, and that was probably my worst experience. But in those experiences, once you've gone through them, your skin just becomes thicker, right? And you're kind of prepared for more and more and more. And that's the kind of the thing, right? You can go to culinary school, but if you've got experience in getting your ass handed to you numerous fucking times, there's something to be gained from that, right? Because you can kind of pick up some basic skills or watch YouTube videos. I didn't even know how to cut an onion and dice shit properly until I watched Gordon Ramsay fucking show me on YouTube, right? So, yeah. I had written some of these notes down about kitchen, and I thought this rant was going to be a lot more heated, but no pun intended, right? I'm not trying to... Yeah, whatever. Anyways, but yeah, so that's the kitchen life, and maybe that'll give you a little bit of insight as to what that's like. So, back of house... don't go completely murdering your front of house, because they're important, and front of house, just, I don't know, learn the fucking menu or something, or grab me a coffee, or, I don't know, just don't stand there and fucking stare at me, I guess, like, there's other things to do. I never understood that, why front of house got away with, like, any job I've worked. I never understood, like, any job I've worked, I wasn't allowed to just stand there and wait for things. Like there's that old saying, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. But apparently that didn't translate to front of house, because, and I'm not speaking for every front of house, but yeah, if you got time to stand there and look at me, which, hey, I'm flattered, I guess I'd look at me too, but I'm sure there's plenty of other fucking things you could do. Like, hey, we don't have a dishwasher right now. Maybe you could throw your own cutlery through, or we could use those plates, or don't. I mean, if you want to sit there and tap your fucking fingernails on the past too, I guess that's okay. But whatever. Who am I to say, right? You do your job, I'll do mine. I'll kill it, and then whatever. As far as if your food's cold because you left it at the past too long, well, that's not really my fault, is it? Right? I can only yell so much before then you start thinking I'm a dick, and that doesn't really equate well either, because eventually then they're like, well, I don't want to, right? Fucking kind of an asshole. It's like, no, I just fucking cared. But, I don't know, you can not care, and then things will really go to shit, but I digress. Anyways, we're looking at 27 minutes, so around the same time as the rant I made yesterday that didn't even get recorded. I sure hope this little bit kind of gave you some insight. Kitchen life, gratifying and crazy at the same time. I suppose I should give you a couple fun facts, as we normally do every episode, so let me just pull that up on my fantastic Samsung Galaxy A51, best phone I've ever had. Body language facts. Never give up on someone you can't go a day without thinking about. Oh, that sounds kind of sweet. I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. Good relationships don't just happen. They take time, patience, and two people getting through all the hard times together. Hard times? Shit, baby. Jokes for days. Sorry, Walter White up in this bitch. Attraction facts. Attraction is largely due to an androgen? Androgen? Androgen steroid called androstenedione. What is up, yo? Past couple fun facts, there's been so many words that I thought I had a good vocabulary, and now I'm getting humbled to shit, because I don't know what some of these words, how you even start saying them. Automatopoeia, I guess is what this says. This steroid is emitted through the human axillary region and has been linked with human attraction. This is because it's odorous chemical compound, and people can smell it on each other and then it trails off. Let's give you one more fun fact. I'll try to find a quick song of the day here. Let's look up really something really nice. Look up animal facts. Play-based learning activities increases a child's attention span. I don't know how that's animal related. I mean, I guess whatever. Cheetahs only need to drink once every 3 to 4 days. Shit. Well, that's kind of neat. All right, we'll give you the song of the day, and then I'm gonna get the fuck out of here because I don't know, whatever. I'm still kind of on my fucking days off before I start work. I'm enjoying it. I've been having a few days off to kind of relax after well, I'm not going to get into details of my last job, but it's a reason why it's my last job. And I'll be on to something new, which I'm excited for, a little nervous, but you know what? I'm always nervous, and then eventually I get the hang of it. And not to toot my own horn, but now that I've kind of had a better grip on what my self-value is and what I know I'm worth, I don't know what it is. I've just been fucking killing it. And I'm not even afraid to say it. I don't care if it sounds conceited. It's just, I made a lot of jokes about how I'm super conceited and, oh, I'm the fucking best and I'm God's gift. But that's a bit. But when I say this, I mean it. It's like once you finally can kind of realize, hey, I'm actually kind of fucking dope. And then you start going into job interviews and you're not going into the interview thinking I need this job. You're going into the interview and you're kind of the one doing it where you're like, why does this job need me, I guess, is the kind of, the perspective changes, because then you realize, holy shit, like I'm actually kind of fucking sweet. We're gonna pick a song. This is from one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, my favorite movie growing up as a kid. The song is called Spill. I'll find the artist, but yeah, it's from the Digimon movie, which was just an awesome fucking movie. And so yeah, that'll be in the comments section. Just to make note too, yeah, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram. I've been updating my YouTube every day now, so I think this will be episode 27. Can't wait to hit episode 50. Maybe I'll do something cool. And of course, as you've noticed, hey, where's the microphone? Well, I got the computer to work, but now my USB isn't working, so fuck me. Whatever, the laptop's just getting old, what are you gonna do? Technology, right? Alright. Thank you very much for listening. Feel free if you want to jump through this video because you got about half an hour to fucking check it out. But again, anybody who listens to this, I appreciate all the time that you've spent checking this out. If you're telling anybody, I appreciate it. Anything that you do to be like, hey, check this video out, and it's all appreciated. I'm not gonna go and beg you or try to tell everyone to share this shit around all the time. It's like, I think if it's good enough and you share it out of your own heart or whatever, then I think that means more than me just being like, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Butthole. I don't fucking know, but just thank you. So have yourselves a fantastic day. Y'all are looking sexy, and I'm looking sexy too. Well, I will look sexy in a minute. God, these fucking bags, man. Check that out. Puffy eyes. Shit. Do you sleep? I sleep. All right. Peace.